Good day mga idol. Sa araw na ito ay tatalakayin natin ang konsepto ng self-defense. Ang self-defense ay isa lamang sa 6 na justifying circumstances na nakatala sa Article 11 of the Revised Penal Code. So kapag sinabi nating justifying circumstances mga idol, take note. The act of the person is in accordance with law. Therefore, there is no criminal and there is no civil liability to be imposed against the accused. Meron tayong 6 dyan. At isa rito ang self-defense na ating tatalakayin ngayong araw. So, umpisa na natin. Ang self-defense ay isa lamang sa mga paraan na pinapayagan ng batas para ang isang akusado ay maabsuelto sa krimen na kanyang ginawa. Kaya lang, medyo hinay-hinay lang tayo pagdating dito sa bagay na ito. Sapagkat ang akusado dito sa self-defense ay kailangan niyang magbase sa lakas ng kanyang ebidensya. Ang ibig kong sabihin, kahit mahina ang ebidensya ng nagdidemanda sa kanya, ay posible pa rin siyang makulong dito kung hindi niya napatunayan ang self-defense. Sapagkat kapag ginamit natin ang self-defense bilang isang paraan para tayo ay maabsuelto, in effect, inaamin na rin natin ang isang krimen. Kaya kung hindi natin napatunayan ang self-defense, surely mga idol, kulungan ang bagsak ng akusado. So take note sa mga nagre-review for the board exam. The evidence required to prove self-defense is clear and convincing evidence. I repeat, clear and convincing evidence. In the hierarchy of evidence, clear and convincing evidence is the second to the highest. Ang pinakamataas kasi dito mga idol ay yung proof beyond reasonable doubt. Pangalawa, yung clear and convincing evidence. So ito ang kinakailangang degree of proof para mapatunayan ang self-defense bilang paraan para maabsuelto ang isang akusado. And the burden of proof in self-defense lies on the accused. Okay, so what is the degree of proof required? Answer: clear and convincing evidence. Who has the burden of proof? It is the accused. So, in self-defense, ulitin natin, ang degree of proof required is clear and convincing evidence, and the degree of proof and the burden of proof lies on the accused. So, I think that is already clear to you sa mga nagre-review for the board exam. Okay, so talakayin na natin ngayon ang konsepto ng self-defense. Basahin natin ang Article 11. Article 11, Justifying Circumstances. The following do not incur any criminal liability. So sa opening statement pa lang mga idol sa Article 11, sinasabi na dito, the following do not incur criminal liability. Okay, number 1. Anyone who acts in defense of his person or rights. So, ito yung tinatawag nating self-defense. So, anyone who act in defense of his person or rights incur no criminal and no civil liability. Okay? So, dalawa ang subject of defense dito na sinasabi sa number 1. Defense of person. And number 2, defense of rights. So, what are these rights na sinasabi sa number 1? Mayroon tayong dalawang rights protected by law. One is right of honor, and number 2 is right over our property. So, hindi lang sarili natin ang pwedeng self-defense, hindi lang sarili natin ang subject of self-defense, pwede rin yung defense of rights tulad ng honor at number 2, property. So, kung pinasok halimbawa yung ating bahay ng mga magnanakaw, in the process na saktan natin ang isa sa kanila o may masamang nangyari sa isang magnanakaw, ay pwede tayong mag-absuelto dyan for the purpose of using the principle of defense of rights over our property. Ganon din sa mga babae, kapag may magtangka sa kanila na mang-rape at napatay nila yung rapist, that is considered as defense on her honor. So, sa tatlong nabanggit na ito, defense of person, defense of honor, and defense of right, ang mas sikat dito ay yung defense of person. Ito yung self-defense na sinasabi natin. Kaya mapopokus tayo sa defense of person or yung tinatawating self-defense. So mayroon siyang tatlong elemento na kailangan nating patunayan kung gusto nating gamitin ito bilang paraan para maabsuelto ang isang akusado. Number 1, basahin natin. Unlawful aggression. Number 2, reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repel it. Number 3, lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. So, ito yung tatlong bagay na kailangan nating patunayan kung gusto nating maabsuelto ang isang akusado using the principle of self-defense. So, talakayin natin ang unang element ng self-defense. That is unlawful aggression. So, ano bang ibig sabihin ng aggression, mga idol? Kapag sinabi nating aggression, it is equivalent to assault or attack. Ibig sabihin, the victim, ito yung aggressor, okay, unlawfully attacking the accused. Okay, so that is the first element. To be considered as self-defense, indispensable requirement dito, mga idol, yung unlawful aggression. Kailangan, para masabi natin na may self-defense dito, the victim or one that the victim will going to attack the accused, and the accused will going to use means to prevent or repel the aggression coming from the victim. Okay, so dalawang klase ng aggression dito. Meron tayong tinatawag na lawful aggression, meron din tayong tinatawag na unlawful aggression. Para pumasok ang self-defense, mga idol, the aggression coming from the victim should be unlawful. Okay? Halimbawa, gamitin na lang natin yung bida natin na si Abdul. Okay? Halimbawa, si Abdul, asawa niya si Maria kay Sarap-Sarap. Okay? So, si Abdul at si Maria ay mag-asawa. Si Abdul ay isang pulis, for example. Okay? Every night, nag-duty si Abdul. Kaya umaalis siya sa kanilang bahay. Natira na lang sa kanilang bahay ay si Maria. Kapag nakaalis na si Abdul, itong si Maria, nagte-text siya sa kanyang kapitbahay na si Ambo. Okay? So, siyempre, expectedly, kapag nag-text si Maria kay Ambo, si Ambo pumupunta sa bahay ni Maria kasi by that time wala na si Abdul. Okay? nagkataon na bumalik si Abdul. Okay? Pag-akyat niya sa kanilang bahay at pagbukas sa pintuan ng kanilang bahay, nakita ni Abdul na si Ambo at si Maria ay nagpapamping up and down. So, alam nyo na siguro ang ibig kong sabihin. Ngayon, nagalit itong si Abdul. Kaya, binunot niya ang kanyang baril at sinugod niya si Ambo. Ngayon, dahil magaling naman sa martial arts si Ambo, naagaw niya yung baril ni Abdul at naiputok niya kay Abdul yung baril, kaya ang namatay si Abdul. Ngayon, ang sabi ni Ambo, self-defense. Meron bang self-defense sa example natin? The answer is none. Because the aggression coming from Abdul is lawful. Ibig sabihin, naaayon sa batas ang ginawang so ibig sabihin, naaayon lamang sa batas ang ginawa ni Abdul na pagsugod kay Ambo. That is what we call lawful. It is allowed under Article 247 of the Revised Penal Code. Basahin natin. Article 247, death or physical injuries inflicted under exceptional circumstances. Any legally married person who, having surprised his spouse in the act of committing sexual intercourse with another person, shall kill any of them or both of them in the act or immediately thereafter, shall inflict or upon them any serious physical injury, shall suffer the penalty of desterro. Yung penalty of desterro dito actually is not a for purposes of punishment. Yung desterro dito na sinasabi is purposes of the protection of the accused dito from the possible retaliation of the family of the victims. So, yung Article 247 sinasabi dito, if a married person caught in the act, his wife and another person in the act of committing sexual intercourse may kill one or both of them. Ang magiging penalty niya lang dito ay desterro. Yung desterro kasi, the accused will require to go out from the locality 25 kilometers away as a minimum and 250 kilometers away as a maximum. So, ibig sabihin, palalayasin ka lang sa lugar na yan. The purpose of desterro here is for the protection of the one who killed the paramour and his wife. So, ang ginawa ni Abdul sa pagsugod kay Ambo is lawful. It is allowed by law. Therefore, kung siya ay minalas at napatay ni Ambo, Ambo cannot use the principle of self-defense because the first element is violated. The first element supposed to be is unlawful. Kaya lang ang ginawa ni Abdul, that is considered as lawful. So in this situation, Ambo is liable for killing Abdul and cannot use the principle of self-defense. Ito ang example ng first element natin. The aggression should be unlawful and the aggression should be made by the victim. Okay, so take note also that in unlawful aggression, there are two kinds. One is actual aggression. Number two is immediate or imminent. Okay? Kapag sinabi nating immediate or imminent, offensive and positively strong, showing a wrongful intent to cause an injury. So, hindi pa nangyayari, kahit threatened lang, already considered as unlawful aggression if that kind of threat is offensive and positively strong, showing a wrongful intent to cause an injury. So, example of actual unlawful aggression. Tingnan natin yung kaso ni US versus Laurel. 22 Philippine Report 252. So medyo matagal na ito. This happened in 1909. December 26, 1909. Kung hindi tayo nagkakamali, itong si Jose Laurel ay former President of the Republic of the Philippines. Nung kabataan pala nito, mayroon din pala siyang ginawang kapilyuhan. Okay. Nangyari ito sa bayan ng Tanawan, Batangas, wherein one in the person of Concepcion Lat, ang ganda ng pangalan ng dalaga, no? Concepcion Lat, kasama niya yung kanyang boyfriend na si Ezekiel Castillo habang sila ay naglalakad. Okay? So, all of the sudden, biglang lumitaw itong si Laurel at biglang hinalikan si Concepcion Lat. Okay? So, nagulat si Ezekiel Castillo by that time at saka yung kanyang makasama, kaya hinabol nila si Laurel. Kaya lang ay hindi nila nabutan. Okay? So, nakapagtago ito at nakauwi sa kanilang bahay. Okay? So, hindi nila nabutan by that time si Laurel. So, 2 days thereafter, nung nanonood si Don Laurel sa kanilang auditorium, okay, nasa harap siya ng upuan. Lumapit sa kanya si Domingo Panganiban at sinabi nito kay Laurel na patawag siya at gusto siyang kausapin ni Ezekiel Castillo. Ito yung boyfriend ni Concepcion Lat na hinalikan ni Laurel 2 days thereafter. Okay, so since nasa mood si Laurel sa kanyang panonood, sinabi niya na mamaya na lang, tapusin ko muna itong aking pinapanood. Okay, so umalis na si Domingo Panganiban. Hindi nagtagal, lumapit na naman itong si Alfredo Yatco and the same message delivered to Laurel na gusto siyang kausapin ni Ezekiel Castillo sa labas. Okay, so the same answer ang ginawa ni Laurel, mamaya na lang pagkatapos ng palabas. Okay, so umalis na itong si Alfredo Yatco. Okay, sa pangatlong pagkakataon, lumapit naman itong si Felipe Almeida. Okay, the same message is given to Laurel na gusto siyang kausapin ni Ezekiel Castillo sa labas. Dahil sa pangatlong pagkakataon na ito ay medyo nagalit na rin si Laurel, kaya lumabas na ito at kinausap si Ezekiel Castillo. So nung magkaharap na yung dalawa, tinanong ni Ezekiel Castillo kay Laurel kung bakit niya hinalikan yung kanyang girlfriend. So sumagot naman itong si Laurel that he had done so because Concepcion Lat was very fickle. Kaya dito nagalit si Ezekiel Castillo at sinuntok niya si Laurel gamit yung kanyang club o yung sa layman's term natin ay ang tawag natin dyan ay yung knuckle. Okay? Uso kasi by that time yung knuckle sa mga kabataan. So sinuntok niya si Laurel sa kanyang ulo to the extent na natumba si Laurel in a sitting position. So by that time, Jose Laurel is already dizzy and expecting another blow coming from Ezekiel Castillo. So bago pa man sumuntok ulit si Ezekiel Castillo, si Laurel able to get the knife out from his pocket and stab Ezekiel Castillo, and as a consequence, Ezekiel Castillo died. So sinampahan ng kaso si Laurel, ang sabi niya is self-defense. Is that self-defense? Ang sabi ng korte is true. That is a good example of self-defense because there is an actual aggression coming from Ezekiel Castillo. So by that time kasi sinuntok niya gamit siya na knuckle, which is very dangerous, and to repel or prevent aggression, it is right for Laurel to use his pocket knife. So Laurel is acquitted for the crime committed against Ezekiel Castillo. So that is an example of actual aggression. Yung pagsuntok ni Ezekiel Castillo kay Laurel is unlawful aggression. Okay, next, let's proceed to the second element. Reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repel it. Ang sinasabi dito, reasonable necessity to prevent or repel the unlawful aggressor. Ibig sabihin, yung paraan na ginamit niya para ma-prevent or repel the aggression is reasonable o naaayon lamang sa sitwasyon na ito ang pamamaraan na kanyang ginamit para mapigilan ang aggressor. Halimbawa, dito yung biktima ay sinuntok niya yung akusado, tapos all of the sudden, yung akusado naman naglabas ng kutsilyo at sinaksak niya yung biktima hanggang sa ito ay mamatay. Tapos sabi niya self-defense. Is the use of knife reasonable to repel the aggression? The answer is there is no reasonableness in that situation. Therefore, hindi pwedeng sabihin self-defense ito kasi kapag sinuntok siya, hindi sapat na gumamit ng kutsilyo yung akusado just for purposes of preventing the aggressor. Okay, so in that situation, there is no reasonable means to prevent the aggression. So, in that example, the accused cannot use self-defense because the means employed is not reasonable. Just imagine, sinuntok lamang siya tapos naglabas na ng kutsilyo at sinaksak at sinabing self-defense. That is not acceptable as a reasonable in that situation. Except, siguro kung ang suntok na yan ay malapakyaw and the use of knife is reasonable. So, the reasonableness will depend on the following. Number 1, nature and quality of the weapons. Number 2, physical condition, character, and size. So, yung sinasabi ko kanina. Number 3, other circumstances considered. So, ito yung mga basihan ng korte para malaman kung ang ginamit na paraan para ma-prevent or repel the aggression is reasonable. Okay, so that is the element number 2. Number 3 element is lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. So, ibig sabihin, kung gagamitin natin ang self-defense, kailangan yung akusado, hindi dapat siya ang nag-provoke sufficiently. Yung akusado ay hindi siya ang rason para magkaroon ng unlawful aggression. Sakali man na yung akusado ang nag-provoke para mag-react itong biktima, that provocation should not be sufficient to consider as self-defense. Halimbawa, yung akusado, tinawag niya yung biktima na pogi. Ngayon, yung biktima nagalit at bumunot ng kutsilyo at akmang susugod na at akmang susugurin na yung ating akusado. Ngayon, the accused was able to defend himself and killed the victim in the process. In that kind of example, question, is the provocation made by the accused sufficient? If the answer is no, then he can use self-defense. But if the provocation is sufficient enough to react the victim, we cannot use self-defense. Okay? So I would like to italize the word lack of sufficient provocation. So the provocation made by the accused should not enough for the victim to react. Okay? So, halimbawa, tinawag lamang na pogi, tapos biglang nag-react. So, hindi sapat yan para gawin ito sa akusado. So, the accused in that situation can still use the principle of self-defense because what he did is not sufficient enough to provoke the victim. That is all about the principle of self-defense. So, there are three elements, I repeat. Unlawful aggression. Number 2, reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repel it. Number 3 is lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. So, that is the first justifying circumstance. That is what we call self-defense. Sa susunod na pagkakataon mga idol, tatalakay natin yung pangalawang justifying circumstance at ito yung defense of relative. So hanggang dito na lang mga idol at sana ay nabigyan kayo ng kaunting kalaman mula sa topic natin ngayong araw. So hanggang sa muli mga idol, maraming salamat at magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Please subscribe and hit the notification bell to be updated of my new videos.